I met a gypsy.
Do you have any regrets in how the industry handled four strokes?
Oh yeah, I 100%. I was a newspaper editor. My dad was sick, and occasionally I would fill in for him at the AMA advisory board meetings. And I believe, and I hate to say it, but I'm not sure. But I think the meeting where Yamaha came and made their pitch to have a prototype pass on the production rule was at Kenworthy's right before the 1995 Troy National. What no one could have realized at the time, anyone on that board, which was a couple promoters, a couple team managers, not really anyone who made the really big decisions, or no one could have envisioned
the magnitude of the decision
or what Yamaha had on the drawing board. Because when you say four-stroke in 1995, you're thinking, oh, Sten London on that, that Husaberg, or
he's riding a sewing machine.
Joel Smets, is on, or the King brothers,
on an XR 400,
or the Sound of Thunder series, whatever it was. It was, and the decision was made because Yamaha said, we think it needs to be 400 cc's, and where it went from there, I don't know, because I was not part of the actual decision. I was just thinking.
Do you think you would have voted against it, or you would have gone with everybody else? Because it's like you just don't know what you don't know, right?
No, I don't know what I to your point. I don't think that I had a thought either way. I did have a baked-in idea that a four-stroke was something that Scott Summers raced in the woods, and I remember the one person who had pushback. Big pushback. The late Ivan Boysen. He was a genius from Norway. Came to America, had set up in Pennsylvania. Good friend of my dad's. Came to our races all the time, and he cautioned that when the two strokes came along in the late '60s, early '70s, we were not anywhere near the potential of what a four-stroke could be. It just the industry wasn't behind it. The Japanese were not making four strokes. This was a European thing. If you had the BSA that Jeff Smith raced in the late '60s, that might have been an eye-opening. Hey, wait a minute, look at the potential of that bike. But that was right at the end of that era, and very foreign to what all of a sudden the shiny thing became Supercross, not two strokes and four strokes. So anyway, that back to the mid '90s. So the approval came. You could have this off year. You could have this prototype bike, but everyone gets to have that year, and you can use it for whatever you want. And Yamaha.
So could Honda use that theoretically right now to ride their new bike, or it's not a new generation thing? It's got to be like a complete prototype.
It was built for the conversion to four strokes, and it ended with the introduction of all the four strokes. So I would have to go back and look, but I think that they got rid of that rule after Kawasaki and Suzuki used it. They were the last
04?
two. 04, yeah, because Honda and Yamaha were already there.
Yeah, 04.
And KTM, unfortunately, used their year to have Lance Smale, I think, and maybe Guy Cooper ride four strokes in the mid '90s. And so, all right, so back to this. Over the course of the '96 season, no one saw or heard what Yamaha was doing. But they did come back and say, we're thinking 450 cc's. We just can't get it the way it's supposed to be. And then they lined up. The first race was Gatorback. The 1997 Gatorback National. Doug Henry lined up on that bike. Doug Henry had already been injured heavily a couple times, so you didn't really think Doug Henry's going to go out and dominate. And Doug Henry, in fact, went out and got like 8th, I think, or 10th.
So it was like a wolf in sheep's clothing almost.
Yeah. But that was Gatorback. So fast forward 2 months to the Las Vegas Supercross. And this time they show up with the 426, and it's white, It looks like a unicorn. It is.
Can you find a picture of that?
It is a unicorn because it was blue when they ran it at Gatorback in that first national. But when Henry wins in Las Vegas, and everything happened perfectly. It was super dry, so they used like this calcium chloride on the track, and it made the track super slick and super sketchy, hard pack, perfect for a 4-stroke. But no one could have thought.
No one knew.
Yeah, so Henry shows up because he was leading the championship before he got hurt. Him and Jimmy Button crashed at, I want to say, the Houston round or something. So he was out of it. So that's why they said, well, yeah, try the 4-stroke. And so he shows up at the last race with the 4-stroke and wins. At that moment, we should have stopped. We should have said, hey, let's change that number because it's already winning. And 1 year later, he would in fact win the 250 national championship. So we got the math wrong. We, meaning the industry in general. And not only did we get that math wrong, we got the math wrong on the 250 class when that came along. And instead of saying, hey, let's make it 150 and 300 for the 4-strokes. Instead, they went with 250 and 450. And I know you're trying to find it, but just go to 1997 Las Vegas Supercross.
Yeah, 1997.
Doug Henry. Yeah.
So Doug Henry, Las Vegas Supercross. Because it had seismic implications. That was a complete, just everything shift.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, there we go. Pull that. Yeah, there we go.
And,
damn, that's cool. So that's the bike that changed everything.
Yeah. McGrath and Emig were focused on settling the championship. Doug had nothing to lose. It was a weird day. The track set up perfectly for it, and it won. And right then, we should have hit the brakes, meaning the industry or whoever was at the wheel at that time. No one could have known what it would change, what it would do to 2-strokes and 4-strokes, what it would do to the industry, what it would do to riding areas in that they're louder bikes. And I think that you could,
Dude, nowadays I feel that more than ever.
Yeah.
Like you go ride a normal day at Parlour, and if you park near where the finish line was, like that's kind of just, in that middle area, you got the 2 vet track and the main track. And bro, you just can't even, the experience of being at a local track is just so fucking loud now. Yeah. It's crazy.
I know. And so I guess to answer your question or to put a bow on all this, impossible. But we are now at the same crossroads with electric bikes.
Yeah.
And we got to get the math right this time. But that means we got to figure out what this box looks like, how it's going to be managed, where it belongs. And we got to do it in a way that it doesn't obsolete what we're already using and using quite well. A modern 450 race bike is a marvel. It's incredible how fast they've evolved to the point where sometimes it feels like the stadiums aren't big enough for the talent, the amplitude, and the athletes and what they can do. We just got to get it right when it comes to electric bikes. There is a place for them. We will be holding races for them. They will be getting behind starting gates. Just where and when and how remains to be seen. But I do believe that, the difference between now and Alta is the way it's being addressed.
Yeah.
I know it's not fast enough for Stark or people who have Stark motorcycles or people who've ridden them. But it has to change. It will change. But how it changes, a lot of people smarter than me and you are going to have to figure that out.
Yeah, yeah. What do you have any thoughts about how different the sport would be if we stayed 2-stroke? Do you wish we stayed 2-stroke?
My favorite bike is my 125s still, or a 150. I love them. But I also have come to really like a 250F.
Yeah,
I'm 6 feet tall, but I don't like riding 450s very much. When we were growing up, my dad put me in the 125 class, put my brother in 250 open class because we kept crashing into each other and fighting. And so I would ride the little bike, he would ride the big bike. And sometimes we would meet in the middle on 250s. So I always had a penchant for 125s or 250Fs. I don't know how the sport would have been different if we still had them. I think it would have been more affordable. But I think we would have had the same challenges with the environment.
Yeah.
I think that we would have noise challenges, just maybe not as drastic as they became with the 4-stroke. And I think that anytime you have two things that are alike, we're going to have a race. That's the nature of, cars and bikes and
that's
horses.
what we do.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
So, personally, I love watching the races as they are now. I'm lucky enough to have grown up and had a front row seat to see Ricky on a 125, Ricky on a 250, and Ricky on a 450. I saw the whole evolution, front row seat. What was the best part of it? All of it.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.